Hello and welcome again to our Informally Formal. Today we are continuing our discussion with Sohail Hasnie. And if you have missed the first session, I would urge you to go make sure you watch that before you watch this second session. But Sohail Hasnie is Principal Energy Specialist with Asian Development Bank, ADB, out of Manila, Philippines. He is our very own from Bangladesh. A BUET graduate, and then he went on to get his master's from Asian Institute of Technology and MBA from University of Melbourne, has tons of certifications and degrees and what have you. But in any event, he has spent the last 20 years as a specialist in the area of energy, in the area of renewable energy, in the area of electric cars. As a matter of fact, our today's topic, we're going to be talking about something that he is very passionate about. He has written a lot about. So a very warm welcome again. Sohail, so good to have you.
Thank you very much. Really excited to be here. We discussed before that how batteries are changing the fundamentals of energy sector, but where the changes are going to literally hit the road is what many people call battery on wheels, which is electric car.
Right.
So, and this is fantastic because if you look at your typical car, what you have, you take your air mixed with petrol, a particular mix, you compress in a multiple cylinder, you put a spark plug, it ignites, piston moves, generates tons of heat, only a part ultimately through the crankshaft moves the thing, and then eventually your wheels moves and the car moves. You generate so much heat that you need a whole cooling system, you need some radiator, heat exchange, and basically less than 24% of the energy input goes into the car. Now come to the world of electric car, you throw all of these things out, basically take your wheels, connect to a motor, have some batteries to run the motor, you've got your Tesla. And that's how simple an electric car is.
So now tell me, Sohail, price-wise, we know that Tesla's very expensive. Their prices have come down, but still very expensive, isn't it?
Well, I mean, Tesla started with a sports car, Elon Musk did. Of course, this was a more than $100,000 car. Then they started with a Model S, which was also a semi-sports car. Then they went to Model X, the one that opens up like this. That's also expensive car, but amazing car to drive. And then finally the Model 3, which is a $35,000 car. And Tesla is coming up more model. But electric car doesn't mean Tesla. Tesla gets all the attention there. There are 50 plus, maybe 100 plus models now. Electric car could be a bicycle, electric car could be a motorcycle, it is a drone that's an electric car. Everything is an electric car. Anything that moves by way of an electric motor is an electric car.
Right. So let me ask you. So there is the traditional automobile, which is the gasoline engine or petrol engine, okay? Or a diesel engine for that matter, okay? Then we have hybrid, and then we have full electric, right? So explain to our audience, what is this hybrid thing about?
Okay, so what the hybrid car did, you basically have an electric motor running the car that you can, from time to time, you have a small battery there. So when you are sitting in a traffic jam, then of course nothing moves, nothing runs. Because the electric car advantage is like a fan. When you switch it off, it's off. But a gasoline car, when you're sitting in a traffic jam, you have some idling going on. So you still run fuel. So hybrid car takes that advantage. It has a gasoline engine. It also have an electric part. So you never have the risk of running out, but it has a relatively small batteries. But then you go to electric car, there is another one in between, it's called plug-in hybrid. That means you can charge the battery by plugging it to your wall. Because a normal pure hybrid is you run an engine to generate electricity, then charge the battery. But then you have another version of electric car, which is pure electric. It's called battery electric vehicle. That means there is no gasoline inside or no oil of any kind.
What do you suppose, Sohail, how far are we from seeing electric cars? Now, I know in many countries, like some Scandinavian countries, electric cars are, outpacing traditional cars. Is that true?
Yes, yes. I mean, Norway, Sweden, and I think Norway has the highest number of electric cars globally. Many countries have committed to go 100% electric car by 2030. And globally right now, about 8 million electric cars running without taking account of the tricycles and motorcycles, just a four-wheel electric cars. So yeah, it has come a very, very long way. And when you say expensive, it's just the cost of entry. Like if you compare a solar power station with a coal power station, you cannot compare with the cost only, because solar installation cost may be high, but then you have no operation cost. Like a hydropower, no operation cost, your water is free. But a coal or oil, you have to buy coal and oil, right? So same principle happens with electric car, because it's relatively more expensive to buy, because electric car is basically batteries, and batteries prices are coming down. Used to be $1,000 a kilowatt hour 10 years ago. Right now, less than $200. It's coming down very fast. So as battery come down, electric car will come down.
Right. So what you're saying is you have to look at total cost of ownership. So
Yep.
The entry cost is rather high right now. And the reason for that is because batteries are rather expensive. Coming down, albeit, but still expensive. So that's what the cost is, the capital cost. But then the operational cost is so much cheaper. So overall cost of ownership, perhaps. So in your calculations, Sohail, what do you see in total cost of ownership? Is it already, electric cars already cheaper to own, or?
Yes, yes. If you take the life cycle cost, in fact, there was a publication, the consumer surveys, and through real data, now they're saying, doesn't matter where you are, the life cycle cost of owning an electric car is cheaper than gasoline cars.
Okay, that's if you let the consumers, if you make them understand that very fundamental, I guess, then we're already there, aren't we?
Yeah, I think what needs to happen, though, and that we are trying with a few governments, as my day job working for the Asian Development Bank, that many cases like you mentioned earlier, ITCOL, organizations like that, what they need to do because of the long-term societal value, buy these cars and then turn them into a lease so that people can do a rent to own scheme or lease to own scheme, because the savings they make, that difference you can pay as a repayment, and sometimes it can be financed just from the savings alone.
Absolutely. So what is this solar plus batteries?
Well, a solar and battery is making all the changes.
Combination of the two.
Yeah, combination of the two. I mean, like I have a friend in Australia. He has a fantastic car number plate. He has a Tesla, and he said no coal and oil. These are two number plates he has. So when I actually have a video with him driving, and I said, oh, how often to go to the petrol station? He said, oh, I go about, every 2 months. I said, why do you go there? He said, oh, I check my tire pressure. It's free. So he has two electric car. One is a BMW i3 that his wife drives, and David drives a Model S. And this runs from their rooftop solar, and he has a Tesla Powerwall. So he's basically living in Sydney, huge house. He doesn't pay anything for gasoline. And that's the unfair part of this technology leapfrogging that I'm trying to explain. Just because of early adoption of technology, it should not be the people living in California or Sydney or Tokyo that they get the benefit of this technology. Like the mobile phone, it should come to the really bottom of the pyramid, people who should be able to get benefit of the free. Maybe a farmer in a rural country, Bangladesh, Cambodia, wherever it is, uses a solar panel to charge his or her bicycle or a little tricycle, and then delivered that farm produce for free far away without needing to buy gasoline, and in a country like Bangladesh to import gasoline for the whole country. So I think that's why it's very important this technology gets adopted faster.
So you think that, this trend that we are seeing now, as it gets to a more consumer level, it will bring about a lot of societal changes too, wouldn't it, Sohail?
Yes. Fundamental societal changes.
Right. Plus, of course, helping climate change. No doubt about that either, right?
Yes, because the fundamental difference of an electric car is the first surprise when you sit on an electric car. Of course, there's no noise and you just sit so quiet. And second, you realize, oh, there's no tailpipe because you don't have to start anything. Switch on and you press. It's like a fan. You turn up the regulator, faster it moves, turn up. It's a variable speed motor. So no noise, no tailpipe, and obviously zero pollution at the car level. And if it is running on renewable energy, you can clean up cities.
So let me ask you very quickly, there is the issue of the disposal of the batteries, right? That creates a challenge, wouldn't you say?
Well, that's a long discussion because today's battery that the cars use, which is lead acid battery, which is basically panels sitting on a sulfuric acid. And these batteries last maximum maybe 2-3 years, some deep cycle maybe, 2-3 years the maximum, and then they cut. And then the acid sometimes goes through, lead gets improperly disposed. So this is a lot of problem with the lead acid batteries, and lead acid batteries are very heavy. Remember the Nokia Mobira, the first mobile phone came in, which had a battery 9.5 kilogram weight?
Yeah.
And today your iPhone has a 100-gram battery, still people complain, so it's a bit heavy. And this all been possible because of lithium battery. So electric cars are using lithium battery, the drones are using lithium batteries. Lithium battery has 3 lives. That's what people say. And these 3 lives could be as long as 15 years, maybe 20, depending on. So the first life, it's in an electric car. It's like in a glass of water. You fill it up, you drink all the way, you drink. And after a while, the capacity goes down. You really cannot drink all the way to the bottom, right? Battery develops a memory or something. For lithium batteries, that may be about 80 years. So you really, when you're driving a car, you don't get the pickup because it cannot discharge quickly. So that's the end of first life. So when that happens, people will take those batteries and put into houses so that becomes the second life. Then you will put into UPS or something very rarely used. So these batteries are not going to come back for recycling for another 15, 20 years. And lithium is a naturally occurring substance. It doesn't have any recycling issue, unlike the lead in the lead acid batteries. Some lithium battery has cobalt, but these are expensive materials, so people are going to take it out and recycle.
Electric cars, of course, as the prices keep coming down, combined with batteries, combined with solar, it could really do wonders for a cramped up economy, like Bangladesh. But there is another facet to look at also, Sohail. This advancement in technology, how do you suppose this would help Bangladesh is still an agrarian economy, even though we're moving into industrialization and we're moving into a service-based economy as well, but agriculture is still a very important segment.
Agriculture, this is another area, another hobby that I picked up lately, sort of looking on hydroponics, that growing food or green leaves without need for water. You can grow 2 lettuce on a 1 square feet in a year, whereas with hydroponics, you can grow 4 of them in a month. So these are the areas that are developing a vertical farming. So a lot of buildings, people are developing stacks. And of course, at the Bangladesh, if I talk about hydroponics, the first thing you will say, oh, no, you cannot do that because the places, Bangladesh have limited land, and the places that have access to electricity is relatively expensive. So that's when I think the battery, solar, everything comes in. You could be far-flung areas which is away from the grid. You put few solar panel up and battery, you can run almost a mini refrigeration system, cold storage, and you can grow anything you want because temperature control. So I think Bangladesh, through early adoption of technology, can really make a huge dent in a global scale in terms of producing anything you want, because Bangladesh has a young population, labor is relatively cheap. So there's no reason you cannot be in the middle of somewhere in Bangladesh and producing tulips or very fancy fruits, because it's all climate control. Once you have power, once you have a computer, once you have few motors running, you can put things in a container, and there are a lot of technology solutions available. You can do anything you want. So that's one. And then the second, of course, you will have autonomous cars, you will have drone delivery system, and these will fundamentally change. Like in Australia, rural areas, what's happening, people are sending drones to check the entire areas, how the plants are going. Drones are scanning areas, comparing the leaves with a expert system database and coming and drawing a contour area saying these are the areas, some infestation going on. So then you look at it, then you go there and do whatever you have to do. I mean, a single person covering huge area of land, and then you are spraying insecticide if you have to, or all sorts of things. I mean, if you have eyes and ears to every plant of yourself, right, you can do whatever you want.
So once again, in closing, I guess, Sohail, what I would like to ask you is what words of wisdom would you like to impart to the young entrepreneurs in Bangladesh when it comes to, and I know in our previous session you've talked about it a little bit, but to expound on it just a little bit more in the areas of electric motors, in the areas of solar, in the areas of battery, and now you talked about a very exciting area in hydroponics. So anyways, to wrap it up in the next couple of minutes, what would be some of your advice?
What I would suggest, especially for electric car, it's so easy to make, especially if you look at the technologies, 3D printing. I don't think it will be unreasonable to say that within 2 to 3 years, you will be able to download a decent size electric car designed by someone, or maybe Bangladesh can even design. Then you just 3D print the spare parts, putting it together, and within a couple of days you are driving. That technology is available today because electric, the fundamental drivetrain is nothing, a steering wheel, sets of batteries, and a motor in the back. I have done projects in the Philippines, and I'm happy to connect with people to make an electric tricycle, electric bicycle, or even an electric boat by yourself. It's so easy, very basic. All you have to do, open your mind. So I would suggest people do that. And same with hydroponics.
Sohail, I would very much like to stay connected with you now that we are through our platform, because one of our goals also, Sohail, is the very talented, talented Bangladeshi non-residents like yourself. And, I lived in America for many decades as well. We want to bring, everyone is, because, our motherland, where we come from, that connection is always there. But the platform is missing. We need to create a better way of being able to pick the cutting edge, advanced level thinking and bring it to Bangladesh and bridge that gap. Sohail, once again, thank you so very much for your time. It's been a pleasure. But let me just say something. I believe in these sessions, they are so very brief that I believe we could have several more sessions down the road. So I would Before I end, I would extend an invitation because I would like to come back to you and continue this very interesting conversation. So thank you, Sohail, and I'd like to thank our audience for joining us. I hope you enjoy these mind-stimulating, very exciting discussions with our very own Sohail Hasnie. Stay safe. With that, I sign off. Take care. Bye-bye.